That's because there's the delay back and forth. Good morning, internet. How are we doing? Go through, get on the right window. Alrighty. Okay, good morning. How is everyone doing today? It is Saturday morning. It is challenge or not challenge accepted. Why? No, it's your Shadow Watch. This is me needing more coffee. I need more coffee.
You can't ever go wrong with more coffee.
No, I mean no.
Well, biscuits and gravy. Hey.
Oh dear.
Didn't do that this morning. I actually had pancakes, eggs, and bacon.
See, I didn't get mine this morning yet either, so it's going to be an after stream breakfast.
This is my breakfast.
Well, I mean, for you guys, I kind of understand. Hopefully, we drum up the appetite while we're playing.
I always eat a big breakfast after stream.
That's always good. Yeah. No, we've been since this is our kind of like getting into it because hang out, have coffee, and then we start playing. My trainer gave me a list of things to work on, like my diet and stuff. And one of the things he put in there is like, some of those things like pay attention to how your body reacts to food. And my wife has been taking it to heart. And so we've been talking back and forth in certain food, and she's been really paying attention to how certain foods affect her. And she's realized that if she eats crepes in the morning, she actually doesn't feel all sick and bloated based on some of the places. Well, not very good at making crepes at home. We're kind of missing a few things, but we have a village inn that's just down the street, and they have it. So she tried it, and feels good. So it was instead of our normal routine over at Sunrise, which is a local kind of hole-in-the-wall place here in Chesapeake. She's like, she wanted to do village inn, so it's like, okay, we go there, we do that, feeling good. And we realized is like some of the other places we get food regularly, it's like, yeah, the food doesn't feel so great. It tastes great, but it doesn't feel so great after.
Yep.
So, but tangent aside, how is everyone doing? Thank you for joining us this early in the morning, Saturday morning, for some live play D&D and coffee. Quick couple of things. A shout out for Sirens Gabe, which I'm turning on right now. For background music and soundboards, go to sirenscape.com for more information. This is our first live stream of the D&D games here on YouTube. Normally we did them on Twitch. That's over. That's done. We're going to be right here on YouTube doing those things. But if you are familiar with the show and from Twitch, you know that there's a way for you, the viewer, to interact with the live stream. I've carried over some of that stuff. It's in the description below, along with a link for where you can donate to affect the stream how you see fit. List of options there. Bless the players, give the players nat 20s, heal the players if they get in over their head, and of course, everyone's favorite, wild magic.
The random fireball.
Wild.
I actually found an interesting item doing my research this past week. Apparently, way back in the day, there was a potion of something, of fire or something or other, and it was essentially fireball in a bottle.
Wow.
Break the bottle, fireball goes off.
Basically a hot sauce.
Yeah. It's like Alchemist fire is cool, but it's like, here, hold this. Here's the better one.
We just
that being said, and if you're liking the stream or whatnot, please be sure to hit the like, the subscribe, and little bell notification so you can be notified when more videos come out. A couple of scheduling notes. Tonight, there will not be a challenge accepted game. I have been given the opportunity to play in another game affiliated with Jasper's Game Day tonight. It is with Dr. B. I am really excited about this one. Last night, I got to participate in a game with Jasper's Game Day and Gary Con. It was all kinds of fun and shenanigans with the Dungeon Run crew and Fenway from Jasper's Game Day, Ron from Dungeon Run. The VOD is up on the one of the Gary Con Twitch channels. There should be should be able to have a link here in the chat if the moderators have already got on it because they are awesome.
Stream Elements is the problem.
Oh well, Stream Elements is
Because it's
slow.
slow.
Yeah, still working on that. Still working on that. So yeah, check that out. It was a lot of fun. Very interesting cliffhanger. I can't wait to see more. Also, tomorrow, normally we have Sunday with Scoob, which is me doing miniature painting. Unfortunately, that will not be happening this week either. I am going to be participating in another GaryCon game. This one is with name real quick escapes me. I'm looking that up real quick because I want to give the right name for the right thing. Stephen Randy McFarlane. He is a creator of a system called Delve, which is loosely based on Greyhawk. So we'll be participating in that tomorrow morning as we close out GaryCon. So I'm really curious to see how that plays out. Of course, Tuesday night with Scuba and the Rye, our weekly podcast where we talk about games, movies, and all kinds of other shenanigans. I will have full game reports on all those things that occurred for all the various games I got involved in over the weekend. So check us out 9 p.m. here on YouTube for that channel. With that I think that's everything. I don't think I'm missing anything. Am I missing anything, guys? Anything at all? No? Other than thank you for spending another morning with me.
I'm just thinking of all the things we could slide in here. It's like levels up, magic items, gold, shinies.
Lots of
Yeah,
shinies
but that's not what he's missing. That's what we're missing.
Oh, dang nabbit. Okay. Shinies? We all like shinies.
You have an opportunity for shinies for sure. So we'll see how that rolls out. So I guess with that, we can kind of get into our recap and start seeing what happens with this with these shenanigans.
Shragnaz.
Shragnanigans.
Shragnanigans.
I like that.
I think so. Somebody made a comment the other day, and I was like, you know what? You can't. It's like the subtext of all D&D games is shenanigans. No matter how much you want to try to avoid it, there's always shenanigans.
You can certainly try.
We can certainly try. Alrighty, so let's do the things. When we left off, the party was traveling down on a task from a colony of myconids to a potential place where they had heard rumor of some mind flayers or illithid had taken up residency in the city of Dwindalian or Dwindlin. And after a little bit of traveling and, you know, an encounter with some driders and spiders and a random fireball, the party managed to come to an area where there's another one of these grand staircases. These staircases are like 150 feet wide for the stairs, and they descend either up and down from the city. This particular one is descending down into an area where believed to be the illithid are hanging out, are working. The area you're currently in is just looks like it's a boneyard of some type. There are various bones in piles. A large statue in the center of the room, 500 feet high, of depicting of a dwarven god, of an ancient dwarven god deity, and some of the piles of bones are all the way up the base to the feet of the statue. These things are carved in place in the area. And there are other piles, and the bones range from humanoid size to larger and gargantuan sized creatures. So some of them in pieces and decay that you can't really recognize what creature it might have come from. But you do see at the southern end of the room is an archway as it leads in. You can see the stairwell starting to descend. It's in fairly decent condition. Along one side of the stairwell of the spiral as it goes down is kind of a smoother path. It looks like it's something that's used for carts traveling up and down. And then the stairs are fairly evenly spaced. There's very little light. A couple of pockets of random crystals are growing that gives a little bit of a dim light. And you guys are now kind of looking at this as deciding how to proceed.
So for this particular set of stairs, there's not the destruction and gaps like there was in the last one.
No, the
we
previous
approached,
set
correct?
looks like some kind of cave-in had knocked out half of the stairs. This one looks like, as far as you can see for the spiral going down, it looks like it's in good condition. Knowing from the last one, these things descend roughly 1,000 to 1,500 feet. So if there is any damage, you won't know it until you start to descend down.
Won't know until it's too late.
Sounds like a familiar theme.
What's the worst that could happen?
We start off
going
with a
back to
fireball.
last week.
That's true. That is true.
I wonder if it's more against the case of actually we start asking what can go right.
Oh,
It'll be fine. I'm sure.
what's the dim light with the lichen and so forth? Shragnaz has the 120 dark vision, right?
Yeah.
Okay. I was trying to think if there's any way to see how traveled or how used the ramp or stairs is.
Can roll? Go ahead and roll an investigation, Jack, if you guys want.
It would help. have a
15.
Okay. Anyone else?
direct button.
Less than.
Wow. Wow.
Less than 15. Shraggy.
So Shrag's looking at the dust and like kicking his feet around. Been, hey, it's a bit dusty in here. Yeah. I got an 11.
Will?
Sorry, hang on. I pulled up the wrong sheet. There we go. Okay, that's a dirty 20.
Alrighty. So Obsidian and Shrag, you see just dust, like years and years, centuries of dust. Anari, you can pick out a couple impressions. Looks like there might have been some foot traffic. Will, you can taking that, you can see further. There it does appear that there has been traffic that comes up and down, but it's very infrequent. That comes up. Some of the some of these are like these kind of large, really kind of mutated type of footprint. When you think of like a humanoid. Best guess is it probably is maybe a troll footprint. Thinking back, you did encounter trolls previously, and Shrag had indicated that when you saw trolls, you saw an illithid. So you might be in the right place.
Shrag can get down the floor and go like to the footman and go. Yeah, maybe troll. Yeah.
Definitely troll. They do come this way, but not real often. Might be a good way to approach.
All right. Well,
So on the description of the bones and so forth, you said most of them look like they're pretty decayed and so on. Is there anything that looks relatively recent, or is it this area pretty much all older, decayed bones and corpses and such?
There are some that are somewhat newer than others. But it looks like as far as you can tell, so a lot of the bones up here are the youngest. The youngest bones maybe a few months, and the oldest could be a couple hundred years.
all right. So I'm going to look to the party and go, well, I guess it's time for me to earn my keep.
What are you planning, Obsidian?
There's no way all of us are going to get down there unscathed. I'm going to go ahead and stealth my way down.
Wait,
I've
wait,
got some invisibility that I can cast
Before
to keep me hidden.
before you take off,
Yeah.
let's talk about getting at least sending stones so we can communicate together still.
Yep, as we have.
And as you say that, like, so Shrag's like tugging at your cloak and like sort of tapping on your leg, Anarion. He's like, hey, I've got an idea. Got a little friend here that can go with him.
I'll nod my head and so say, so you're offering to have Nat go down and take a look?
Yeah. She can go with him. She can hide with him. I can see
Okay.
through her eyes, and I can tell you what's happening.
That's a great idea.
Good idea.
So you're just going to go in and get the lay of the land, right, Obsidian? You're not going to try to take things on by yourself down there.
Wow, I like living.
Okay. Well, then here, take this, and I just kind of like touch his forearm, and this like soft glow spreads over his arm and like kind of covers his entire body and like flashes for a moment and then goes dark. And I've cast Death Ward on you.
Oh.
So if you take a hit that would make you go unconscious, it will stop you from going unconscious, but you'll only have a single point of health.
Yeah, how would describe that? I know what you mean. He may not.
Yeah.
I'm the point of health.
Cling to the last strand of your liveliness.
Hanging on by a thread.
Thank you. I have a few tricks. I have a few tricks up my sleeve. So I hope it does not come to that.
Okay. There's one other thing I can do for you. It'll only last you 10 minutes, but it's worth it. And I just kind of like still had my hand on your arm, and another light comes out of it. And this one will protect you against aberrations if they try to attack you. I have cast protection from evil and good on you.
Okay, thank you.
Nice.
So, in looking at what I can help out with as far as that goes, I'm going to go ahead and cast Aid, but because I can do 3 creatures, it will be Will, Shrag, and Obsidian.
Oh.
And so the spell bolsters your allies with toughness and resolve. Choose up to 3 creatures within range. So the 3 of you, and each target's hit point maximum and current hit points increase by 5 for the duration. It is a duration of 8 hours.
Nice.
So for the next 8 hours, you get max 5 additional hit points.
Excellent. So every time we heal, we go up to that new max.
Yep.
Cool.
Ooh, we get to use the max.
New max HP modifier on D&D Beyond.
I know.
Henry, get out of my head. I literally used the word I said inside my head. That was so freaky because I was thinking it and all I heard it was in your voice. It's just like, what?
That's not what I sound like.
That reminds me, I didn't make timers for the character profiles for the chat.
Oh.
I'll put it on my list to do.
So before I go down, Steve, I'm going to look around. I want to try and grab a couple of rocks, little tiny rocks or stones.
Okay.
From up here. I want to get like 5 or 6 of them.
Okay.
This way, what basically my thought process is, if I need a distraction, I can kind of use these to throw somewhere and try and get a distraction in a different direction.
Okay.
I want to go ahead and cast Comprehend Languages out of the helm. Even though we're constantly doing it, I want to restart my 1 hour timer because once I cast invisibility, I don't want to be casting another spell.
Gotcha.
To kill the invisibility.
Just a question for mechanics purposes, from the helm, does that count as a casting?
I think so, because if you read the helm, let me pull it up. The helm reads, while wearing this helm, you can use an action to cast the Comprehend Languages spell from it at will. So you are casting
you actually
a
do
spell.
have to cast something. Okay.
Yeah, and it lasts an hour.
Right.
So, I mean, depending on how fast you go down the spiral, it may not. You may be at the tail end of it when it dissipates.
I get it. Well, I'm not going to cast invisibility yet. I'm going to more stealth down until I kind of run into something, and that's kind of when I want to recast invisibility. But I wanted to comprehend languages, so if anybody's talking, I can understand what they're saying or hear as I'm going down.
Gotcha.
So I'm going to stealth my way down these stairs.
Okay.
And let me go ahead. I know you're going to ask, so let me go ahead and do it.
You can cast spells through Nat, right, Johnny?
Oh, yeah.
That's freaking...
Wow, I rolled 2 9s, so I have a 19. 19 on stealth.
And this, ladies and gentlemen, is why 8th level rogues that are Way of the Shadow can be interesting.
I wanted to make sure that it wasn't the bug that made it roll the same thing over and over. So I rolled a third one just to make sure it wasn't another 9.
Again, comment to watching D&D Beyond has a nice thing called a game log where you can do your rolls through D&D Beyond in a campaign. However, please be careful. If it's been running too long, it might not roll dice. It might just say, take the last dice roll you made and copy it again.
Yes.
You can give us and you can take us away.
Like so many other things.
So many other things.
All right, so...
And so I wear boots of elvenkind, which means my footsteps make no sound.
Yes. So you have that, so you're going to try and stealth down. What was the plan with Nat?
So, because Nat glows dim light in a 10-foot radius, to start with, while he's just stealthing, she's just going to like sort of float along above him. So she's not actually giving his position away. And then when he comes to cast invisibility, she is actually going to go and sit on his person in some location that Shards thinks is best. And basically she'll then go invisible with him. And then obviously she'll like sort of covered away so she doesn't give off the glow, and she'll run with him. And then if needed and he needs to stealth again, she will then separate off up to that 300 feet. And obviously I'll just be watching through her eyes and relaying what she sees and hears back to the rest of the team.
Okay. All right. So Obsidian is going to start descending first. How far? What about the rest of the? How far ahead are you going to descend as opposed to the rest of the party?
I'm going all the way down.
Okay. So, well, how far back is the rest of the party? Because that has a specific range. You know from the last stairwell you climbed that this could potentially go almost 1,500 feet down. So how far back is going to have the rest of the party kind of following?
Probably maybe to start with, keep it to the max 300 feet of Nat's sort of awareness. And then basically like sort of stretch it out. And then if there's still more to go and they're actually pushing that 300 feet, we'll then like catch up again a bit and then let them go on again.
Okay.
So like sort of Constantine a little bit, but then we'll try and keep it to the max distance until we get to a sensible position. And then we'll try to sort of almost like letting the reel out of that 300 feet to stay in touch.
Oh, God.
Yes, I saw that comment in the chat too. I'm choosing to just grin and go, hey, great way to test if these new features work. You know who I'm talking to in the chat.
Indeed.
When he goes, I hath found you, beware, we're in for it. The other thing I'd like to do right before we go down is have Cablas do hide here. We will be back when we are back. If you have to fall back for whatever reason, we've got a rendezvous point. We will meet you there.
She looks about the boneyard and kind of looks at you and goes, see you when you come back up. And you can almost kind of get, it's like, she kind of looks at these bones as an opportunity.
Okay.
So she sits there and says, I'll see you when you come back up. And she goes, and you see her start picking through the bones. I mean, she's very aware. She's very aware of what's going on, but she's going to, kind of start picking through the bones because bones can be used for a great many things.
Everyone's gonna have a hobby.
Yep.
Make really good pies.
Yeah,
Okay.
I mean,
only the younger, fresher ones, from what I understand.
well, no, the bones are great because you grind them up, you make the bread. But that's something else. That whole giant
The
thing.
pies. The pies. Yeah. Oh no, those weren't bones. Those were never mind.
I'm sure they use the bones to make the flour, and yeah.
Exactly.
I mean,
I'm getting hungry now.
Not from before.
I mean, isn't that the kind of the trope for this one? Is we find some food reference somewhere each time?
Always.
Everywhere.
Sure, we're not looking for them. It just kind of happens.
All right, so Obsidian and Nat start to descend. You kind of count it out in your mind, and then you guys start to follow between about the 250 to 300 feet distance. Since you're trying to stealth down, Will, Shrag, and Anari, go ahead and give me stealth checks as well.
It's going to be...
Go, Johnny.
I'm going to say it's 18. Dice
Yeah.
flipped over.
Really, Will?
What'd she do?
I rolled an 8 and a 7 with advantage.
Oh, wow. Anarion had a 25.
So what's your total score?
12.
12?
But she's a couple hundred feet back, right?
She's a couple hundred feet back every
From
so
you?
often. As you're descending down a couple of points, as you're descending, you're kind of walking, and you hear kind of like just a faint echo of a metal scrape on stone.
And I'm going to stop.
Either that or she kicks a rock and it goes plink, tink, 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 down the center of the stairwell.
Kind of like that scene from Predator where he tosses the rock to the side. You just hear the clink, clink, clink.
Would you like to take a moment and tell Dish Pickle how he may affect the stream, since since we are lucky he cannot see super chat?
Did a super chat?
No. He says, "Thou art lucky. I see not super chat." So he doesn't know how that he can affect the stream. So would you like to?
Dishpick, reminder, if you look in the video description, there should be a list of options for how you can affect, and there should be a link to donate to the stream via Stream Elements. If we can get our subscriber count up above 100, we should be able to start opening those features up. So please share, like, all those things. Let's so we can activate all those cool features here on YouTube.
Yep.
There we go.
Excellent. All right. So when I hear the rock or the
Wow. Thank you, Mr. Bowman.
Thank you is right. Now I have to look and see what that does.
That could do a few things.
That's wild magic for the rest of the year.
That can do a few things. So please tell us how you want it, what you want to do.
I'm gonna
that evil laugh. We're in trouble.
I was gonna say I'm gonna call my friend back here, Brian.
There we go. That's what you get.
Oy vey. Okay, so when I hear the screeching, I'm gonna stop.
Yeah, it's a very light screech every so often. It's kind of that. Okay, they're
okay. And I'm listening. I want to make sure I don't hear anything below reacting.
No, essentially, as you're kind of progressing down, you've gone through like maybe you're about 2 rotations ahead of them. So it's that you just kind of, it's almost like you very faintly hear it because you're just so attuned to trying to see as you're going. And as you kind of look over, and that kind of just does the arms up like, I got nothing for you. So, because of her telepathic bond with Shrag, she kind of tells when.
I get realized like
12 wild magics, if I did the math right.
No, stop it. Stop it.
So basically, we won't be casting any spells today, or tomorrow, or next week.
Actually, I am. I'm going to be casting invisibility twice.
That's not fair.
It's fine.
Oh, God.
Oh, my. This.
Oh, no.
What could possibly go wrong?
Welcome to our first YouTube stream, ladies and gentlemen. We are going to have a lot of fun.
Well,
that being said, let's do this.
Luckily,
okay.
I've had my 8. So we're good. We're not going to have the 8 again.
Not going to happen.
Wood.
Do you say that?
Alrighty. So, still is continuing to progress down. You guys as you continue to go, you get to the last rotation, and you start to, and you as you come around the last rotation, you can see it's coming around. You can see where the stairs are stopping.
Okay, so I'm gonna stop.
Yes. Go ahead and your passive perception is how much?
18.
Okay. With the 18, Shrag, what's your passive again? Through Nat?
My passive is 14.
Okay. So Nat would just basically use yours, but as you kind of look, and you kind of get yourself and you kind of scout around, you see there are 2 entryways that are open. Looking about, you see another entryway has been completely closed off. Looks like some kind of collapse of strategic in nature in its setup. Same with a couple of the others. As you kind of picture, okay, these things, this when you're at a floor like this, there's multiple ways on. Looks like there's only 2 ways. As you look at each of those 2 ways and listen, and you can kind of get the smell of rotting, kind of putrid flesh, and you hear some grumbling in the from beyond the doorways.
And which hallway was this? The first or the second?
Both.
Oh, okay, from both. If I take how far are the hallways from me?
From where as you're kind of looking, you'd have to continue to come down all the way. Both of those entryways are probably about 100 feet, roughly, from in a straight line. If you were to just hop down or whatever and go out there, and your helm still hears a little bit, but you can tell the helm is starting to fade, because as you hear some of the conversation, it's starting to miss a couple of words, but it's definitely some people. It sounds like some idle conversation about how to cook something, or why haven't we had any cooked food in a while. When are the masters going to be done so we can go hunting? It's been a while since anything came down here. Kind of random bits, and I mean, you're hearing like 2 different conversations at different points.
Okay. Can I tell what type of creatures they are?
Not at this distance. And if the helm tells you, it sounds like they're speaking giant. I don't know if the helm will tell you what language is being spoke, but it definitely, as you're hearing it kind of start to miss words, and eventually you lose the conversation, and it's just the sounds, and it's very faint. I mean, you're like acutely listening to this.
Yeah, and it does, and it says, for the duration you understand the literal meaning of any spoken language you hear. You also understand any written language that you see, but you must be touching the surface of which the words are written.
Okay. So no, you're hearing it, and the words start to fade, and now it's just blah 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 blah. Blah, blah, blah,
okay.
I just can't really tell.
So I'm going to look to Nat.
My best giant, all right? Give me a break.
I'm going to look to Nat and to tell her that if they come down here, to not go past this point, because there's something down the hall. So I don't know if she can relay to him, or if it's a one-way.
Shrag's been kind of sitting there every so often, just kind of connecting.
Yep.
So at some point the message gets back, and he just...
Okay. I'm going to step back a little bit.
Okay.
And and through the helm cast comprehend languages.
Okay. Roll that D100.
Dun, dun, dun.
Oh my.
73.
I feel like we need some Mission Impossible music or something right now.
I am sure that is not part of Sirenscape.
followed shortly by.
Yeah, exactly. The part that worries me is the Mission Impossible starts out with that match in the lit wick. So that will be leading to the fireball, I'm taking it.
Unfortunately, no. But as you cast the comprehend languages and you're sitting there, you see you kind of looking about, you see there's a couple of little like creatures coming about, and there's a little lizard that seems to be kind of crawling through, and it stops and it seems to twitch a little bit, and then after a while you see it just kind of collapses.
What the hell was that?
A 73, a random creature within 60 feet of you becomes poisoned for 1d4 hours.
Oh my gosh. Oh, I'm so glad we're far away at the moment.
So obviously Shrag can like watch this, and like he's seeing through that side, and she's watching all this happening as well, and like relays it. And Nat is just gonna like sort of like cover her mouth up and like pretend to laugh and just like point at you, Shad, and then just sort of go like the waff, you're like.
Okay, so I can now hear trolls again, or what I'm assuming is trolls. I would like to stealth up to the first hallway.
Okay.
And pretty much as I get there, I'm going to be casting invisibility on myself as I get there.
Righty.
As you get ready to do that, if you call Nat over, she will come sit herself on your person somewhere.
Yeah, absolutely. Be like, come here. Oh, no, I'm sorry, not you, babies. My dog was like, oh, okay. I'll come here.
All right, you cast invisibility. Roll that D100 again. What did you get?
Oh, crap.
93.
If it's an invisibility effect, does he get improved invisibility?
So as you cast invisibility and you start to walk toward this doorway, you notice the doorway seems to shrink a bit in your perspective. And as you kind of get up there, and you notice that when you've walked through these doorways before, there was a significant distance between your head and the top of the doorway. In this instance, it feels smaller. What has happened is you have just increased your size by one category for the next minute.
Is it the large spell?
Yep.
But does that mean that he gets
your
to
size
do extra
increases
damage?
by one size category for the next minute? So as where you would creep up there and you'd put your hand on the side, it's actually 2 feet higher than where you normally would.
Well, you know what they say: go big or go home.
Yeah. You can't like look at yourself because you're invisible.
Exactly. I don't know what the hell just happened.
All right, we got a blessing from the Tricksters.
Oh, thank you.
Oh my!
Which is a newer thing that we haven't seen a whole lot of. Let's see. That is all PCs gain a +1 bonus to rolls for the length of the stream, if I remember that right.
Holy moly, Tricksters! Thank you.
Yes.
Yes, thank you.
You get a +1 bonus to all rolls. So when you do a dice roll, when you roll for an attack or whatever, at the end of the roll, you just add 1.
Awesome.
Awesome sauce. Thank you.
Love and hugs to the chat.
Yep. Okay, so
go ahead and obviously you're gonna stealth over. So go and roll your stealth check.
Giant stealth.
At advantage. 19 and an 18 plus 10, so 29.
30.
Oh, 30.
30 because you get the +1. So you got to remember you get a +1 to all your rolls.
Yeah, I better put a big sticky note for that because I will definitely need that at some point today.
All right, so as you kind of creep up there, you don't make any sound, any potential sound, even as you're in larger than life form. You look through, and as you look down the hallway, look down this hallway, you see a couple of stalagmites that are growing up, boulders, and then behind one of them, kind of just standing casually, talking to something in the distance. You see a troll.
Okay. How long does the hallway look?
Your vision
I only have
is
60.
Your
60
vision is
dark.
60. You see the hallway goes, and at the end, at the edge of your vision, you kind of see it looks like it forks a little bit. So as
Okay.
you're looking down, it's kind of forking a little bit at the edge of your vision, and then
Okay.
just past where the troll is kind of standing, it looks like there's another little hallway offshoot.
All right. So I am going to, and they are not blocking the path. I can easily walk by them, correct?
No.
Okay.
In your current state, you could not walk past them. Because this is another thing that kind of clues you in something's perspective is different, is they don't seem as big as last time you saw them.
So I'm going to stop for a moment and ponder. What the hell?
Everything in the Underdark just shrank. Something strange.
Basically. But you said it only lasts a minute, right?
Yeah, it only lasts a minute. So after a little bit of time, you can actually see the perspective change, and now it's much larger than you. So now you're in your kind of feel you're in your normal size perspective, and you can see that there's a little bit of room around the stalactite to try and weave past. So there's a chance you could weave past that troll to get further down the hallway.
I'm going to do that.
Okay. So while you're doing that, coming back to the rest, you guys are in the time he was gone up to do this, you would have come down and you would have come to the point where you can now see these two entryways, and you can kind of hear, do any of y'all speak giant without magical means?
I believe
Willhelminia does.
I might.
Okay.
What happens when we get to know a firbolg really well?
So, and Will, you've got like a 21 passive, right?
20.
So yeah, you come down to that same point, and Shrag recognizes the lizard that died and kind of gives you the symbols. Like, all right, Obsidian was here. And you kind of look, and you can hear the conversation. It's shifted a little bit from what, but you can hear some distant voices in giant kind of chatting.
I'm just going to keep an ear on that conversation to just make sure it doesn't turn to intruder alert.
That's fair. All right.
And then I guess we need to kind of find a spot to hide down here while we wait for Obsidian to come back.
How far away is the tunnel that or the corridor that Obsidian went down from the point on the stairs that were arriving?
Both corridors are roughly 100 feet from your position, down the stairs and then over. As you kind of look about, you can see the rest have all been collapsed, blocked. So there's only two ways. You can't really tell which one Obsidian went through because he's currently invisible.
Based on Nat's observation, or at least Shrag would know which one they chose.
That's right. Nat stays with him. So it would be as you're looking at it, it would be the corridor on the left.
Okay. Any places that we can hide close to that corridor entrance?
No, it's actually fairly clean of any type of cover other than to kind of hide up the stairs. And kind of hide around the central column that extends the full length of the stairwell. So it's kind of one of those you could kind of hide and kind of look. You can kind of look about and kind of just kind of carve that pie, so to speak, and get the doorway and be mostly covered by the pillar. It's just you're going to be elevated and it's going to be down. So there's no closer spot to the doorway unless you guys go up to either side and just kind of hang out on the side and kind of just peek through the doorway.
Right. We're all just
I was going to say, can we tell from the ground how trafficked this area is?
Go ahead and give me a survival check.
It's the same as it was when I looked at
Dirty 20.
Oh,
You can see Obsidian's footprints.
But only his?
Only his. There are other ones there, but the most freshest ones are Obsidian's leading down.
And again, in terms of, I'm talking about the corridor leading up to where he went. So is this I'm trying to figure out if this is a well-trafficked corridor?
Oh, okay, yeah.
If it's patrolled?
There are footprints that, there are some of those same kind of large mutated footprints that seem to pass back and forth through the corridors. But they look like they might be a few hours old.
Yeah, so chances are if we try to hide in the corridor, peeking around that area, then we may run into some other problems. So we'll probably have to wait where we are.
Can we take the hide action? But is that something we'd have to do over and over again, or
no? For the sake of brevity, so to speak, if you guys want to take the hide, it's just a matter of where you wanted to try and take the hide action at. If you wanted to try and hide on the doorway, then you're good in there unless there's a chance somebody could come out of the other corridor and potentially see you, because there's not a whole lot of debris and whatnot, because it's kind of like you walk into a convention hall and it's just this huge open area, and it's like, how does somebody hide in plain sight here?
Yeah.
But up on the stairs, you could kind of behind the corridor, and you could take that hide and just be like, unless you do something else, you're effectively hidden.
Okay. Is there a way to hide just under the stairs so we can be on the ground floor, or is it solid under there?
It's a solid staircase coming up until it hits roughly if you're thinking 360 degrees, once it crosses the 180, then all of a sudden it starts to thin out again. And
okay.
the one corridor that would be under that first 180 first half of the stairwell is carved into the base of the stairs, but that's all blocked off.
Just kind of thinking here, I'll probably be the one that has the best opportunity to hide up by the door. So maybe Shrag and Will can kind of stay here hidden, and then I'll try to move up close to the door and take the hide action there.
Yeah, because Shrag's going to be semi-distracted, and although it doesn't actually take an action to see and hear what Nat sees, I do need to obviously focus and concentrate on that and feed stuff back. So I wouldn't be really focused on anything else.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I've been trying to focus on Shrag's description of where Obsidian is in case we need to go follow him. So I think that's a good plan.
What I am going to do is I'm going to use my glamour-studded leather armor, and I'm going to, quite rarely you see this happen, but I'm actually going to take my hat off and sort of carefully, but not so carefully, just crumple it up and put it in my backpack. And I'm going to sort of rub some dust on my face, and my glamour-studded armor is going to change to match the color of the stonework and everything around us. And I'm just going to huddle up on the ground next to the bottom of the stairs and hide as best I can.
And I'm standing next to him in my blue and red and gold armor, that's a nice trick. Sit next to him. Has it been 10 minutes?
That's funny.
I'm sorry. I'm thinking about I'm thinking about he effectively just made himself a ghillie suit. A goblin in a ghillie suit.
Pretty much, yeah.
That's pretty good.
Now you know your cosplay for RealmCon.
and it has been because my comprehend languages lasts an hour, and I had to recast it, so it's been more than 10 minutes.
Yeah.
Well, then, as Anarion prepares to hide by the door, I will touch his shoulder and cast Enhance Ability on him with Cat's Grace. So you have advantage on dexterity checks.
Nice. And go ahead and roll your D100.
Ah, crap.
I was gonna say you should have saved that because I already have advantage on stealth.
Oh, okay. Then I will give you.
Oh boy.
Constitution. You also get an extra 2d6 temporary hit points.
Okay.
And now I'm gonna roll my d100.
Oh boy.
My actual 100-sided die.
Ooh.
I'm scared. Well, it's not an 8. It's a 9.
Oh, so close.
Wow.
So close.
That's scary.
It's too close for comfort.
Oh, look at his face. We're in trouble.
So you go and you put your hand on Ari and you say your blessing and it enhances enhance ability. And as you go to kind of turn and look away, all of a sudden feel your hands start to kind of infuse with energy. And as you kind of hold them up and look, all of a sudden from your hands, several darts of force energy as a magic missile at 5th level erupt from your hands and fly across the room and impact in the wall across the way.
Oh boy. That's not going to help the stealth check much. Oh
I'm gonna
my.
freeze where I stand.
Yep.
I'm gonna kind of try and move into the wall as much as I can when I hear this, knowing it's probably going to attract the things that are here that way.
Ironically, because I don't remember if you had just stepped into the room, into that hallway to kind of gauge, because you're invisible and you're kind of gauging your distance. You can actually kind of hear this go, and you part of you kind of looks behind, kind of just ever so slightly trying to keep the troll in one end of your peripheral, and in the other end you can faintly see Anari stacking up, and then all of a sudden you hear you can't hear magic missile flying, but you can totally hear the impact as it just kind of walks across the wall. 5th level magic missile, that's what, 3
9 or 10 darts. Dang it.
If Shrag needed to actually move, but you can't really see him, it's like he's now even more hanging his head in his hands.
Do the trolls move?
We will find out in just a moment.
As soon as the trolls walk past me, if they do move, I want to say something to Nat.
As you're watching the trolls in the corner of your eye, you don't see them react.
And breathe.
That was fortunate.
Okay, no more spells. No more being helpful.
Does anybody have any blood pressure medication that I can borrow?
I'm just like standing next to Anarion with like the smoking remains of the wall in front of me, and I'm like, I'm sorry.
Now, this is across into it. This is across this area against the back wall. And you take a pause, and you take a pause. And Will, you can hear that there hasn't been any change in the conversations that you can overhear. So it seems like nobody's taking notice of you just unloading on the wall.
Anarion's going to turn to Will and go, shh.
I'm sorry. I'm going to go back upstairs now.
So Anari, as you're stacked on the wall and you kind of looking in, you see the stalagmite, you see the one troll kind of leaning against it, kind of just idle conversation with another creature down, and you, because with your vision you see there looks like there's a corner next to where the troll is standing. You see down there, it seems where there's a fork in the path, and sounds like, and you hear a couple of voices coming from either side of the path, as well as the one that's in front.
How far is the other corridor from this one?
The other, you talking the other one from the stairwell stepway?
Right. The one that Obsidian did not take.
The one that Obsidian did not take. That one would probably be about 100 feet to the right of where you are. In fact, you can kind of see the kind of the natural curve of the space, and you can see where that next kind of portal entry is.
All right. Let me just check one quick thing.
And with your passive, you can kind of tell that Obsidian is in here, but knowing that he's with his repertoire of abilities, you don't know where he is, but you know he's somewhere in front of you.
Okay. I want to on the corridor that is kind of a little bit farther down, I'm going to move a little bit down toward that one, and I want to spread some caltrops along the corridor there, okay, and then move back to try to observe where Obsidian went down, so that if anybody comes up towards us on that corridor, they'd step on the caltrops and at least give us some kind of warning, I think.
All right, go ahead and give me a stealth check since you're moving from your current position.
That will be a 25.
Not a problem.
This is why you're down there and I'm up this way. 25.
You go and you lay out your caltrops in front of the other entryway. So if anything does come through, they're going to be slightly delayed. You'll have better time to react to them.
Better reaction. Yeah, that's the idea.
All right. And then you come back and you're now on the opposite side, kind of looking in. Obsidian, what are you doing
Okay. So after taking a very, very couple of shallow breaths, I know Nat's here, and I'm looking kind of where I know she was and just shaking my head. I know she can't see me, but so I'm going to continue down the path.
Okay.
So you said I'm going to come to a T-junction, correct? Left or right?
Hang on. Give you a map to go off of in just a moment.
Oh, okay.
So let's check out the map. As far as Shrag, Anari, and Will, you guys are out of this room, so that's why your tokens aren't completely visible.
Mhm.
Obsidian, you come up to that first kind of stalagmite area. You kind of see it just on the other side of the stalagmite. You see the troll kind of there, and as you kind of look about, you see what looks like another troll down one side of the corridor, kind of hanging out at that intersection.
They're down here. And which is the troll, on this side or this side? Ah, thank you. Okay.
So you kind of, as you kind of sitting there, and you can kind of see what those two as is.
Yeah, and of course Nat would be just sitting on my shoulder, even though she's separate.
Yeah.
Since she wouldn't be able to see where I'm going, she's sitting on my shoulder.
Yeah.
I know she's shown as separate. So, all right. So I'm going to very carefully stealth down this side.
All right, go ahead and give me a stealth check with advantage.
I have advantage already.
That's right. Yeah,
boots.
just go ahead and give me a stealth check.
7 and a 19 plus 1 is 20 plus 10 is 30 again.
All right, yeah. Troll is none the wiser, and as you walk past, you see that he's kind of blocking a small, narrower path.
Okay, does it appear to be anything down that path?
No. You kind of look. It goes a few feet, about a dozen or so feet, and then seems to take a hard turn.
Okay.
Then you kind of lose your vision out of there. So when you get to that next spot.
Yep. So we're gonna come on down. I'm gonna be hugging the wall a bit.
You see another troll kind of sitting there, gnawing on a bone. There seems to be a little bit of meat left in it. It kind of looks like it's a femur of like a dwarf. And it's just kind of sitting there, kind of gnawing on it, and you hear them kind of complaining. And with your comprehend language, you hear it's like, needs garlic. Why can't we never have any good food down here?
Got it. So I want to look in this direction and see what I can see, and I want to look if there's anything kind of behind this troll. Doesn't look like the edge of my vision.
So on the edge of your vision, you see the room kind of open. Taking a look at this side first, you see the room kind of open up, and you see a couple other paths. One that leads straight across, and then a couple of little offshoots to either side. And then from where this other troll is here, you see there's another kind of cluster of stalagmites and debris, and a couple of and a little bit of faint light from some crystal you recognize as like some of the crystal structures that seem to be naturally growing around here, and that path kind of seems to kind of continue on.
Okay, and obviously because I know I have limited time on visibility, I'm not like running, but I'm also not taking my sweet old time like grandma.
Yeah.
Okay.
So now
I just have to stop to hear what I'm seeing, obviously.
Yeah,
so and I want to head this way.
Yeah, from where you're currently at, you essentially have trolls all about. Now that was difficult terrain you crossed through, so it's going to reduce your movement a little bit.
Okay.
Difficult terrain. Anytime you see the little triangles on the map, it symbolizes difficult terrain, and it's going to cost you half your movement to move through that particular.
Okay.
So you're sitting there, and you see kind of. So as from right there, you kind of pass through. There's a little pool of kind of like a little pool of water, but it's got a faint glow to it. Like there's some kind of lichen or something in the water giving it a light glow. There's a pile of bones and some very fresh kind of fungi that's growing off of the bones, and the whatever else is in permeating the ground that is making it really good for fungi to grow. And you see there are 2 hallways to the north, to the left and right of where you're standing. One of them, as you kind of look, you can see kind of a faint wash over of light. I mean, ever so faint. Like
is that the one this way or the one this way?
This way, you see a faint little bit of light that seems to just kind of very vague. Down here,
I'm sorry, I didn't see your ping.
Oh. In this area, there's a little bit of faint light, like almost imperceptible. But your passive is pretty good as you're kind of looking. This hallway seems to be, it's dark and it continues on to another section. Down here, this area is almost completely devoid of light.
Okay. Well, that's weird. I'm in a different spot on my map. Oh, never mind. I switched over to YouTube real quick because I still couldn't see where you were pinging, and I forgot there's a delay. South and east. The one that's south has a feint of light, correct?
North. If you were to put a compass rose right on your token with north pointing up, straight up, there's a faint little bit of light. South, it's pitch black down that hallway. East, it's dark, but then there's little feints of like crystal light in the distance, very kind of minute. You're kind of used to the fact, and then back south, back west of where you're standing is where you see, and you see you have the troll right there in your vision. You see the other one, and you know they're continuing their whole conversation.
Okay. Well, if I see light to the north, I'm just going to kind of make my way up north then.
Okay. You see a couple of clusters of the crystals that are kind of growing there.
Okay. So make my way over and down a bit, and that's all that's up here, correct?
Yeah. It's just a little pocket with those right there.
All right. So I'm going to come back down, and I think I'm going to go east.
All right. That path continues on into another section. You start to see various, it opens up and you see other various caverns and whatnot, kind of what you used to see in various places where like storehouses and whatnot.
Okay.
And it just carries on for feet and feet and feet.
Feet and feet and feet. Feet and feet and feet. Okay, so what if I go south then?
You go south. As you creep up, you notice there are several. This is pitch black, and there are several clusters of mushrooms. Give me a nature check.
Oh, that's going to be bad.
Yeah, sure.
Oh, 15.
You vaguely recognize them. And it's one of those things is like when you see them in a picture is one thing. When you see them in real life, it's something else. These are shriekers. 3 clusters of shriekers that are sitting there.
Oop, back up. Back up. Back up. But when I saw them, did it look like there was a path behind them?
No.
Or was it a dead end?
It's a dead end.
Okay. All right, well, this ought to be fun. So I'm going to go up, trying to avoid the harsh movement, or the half movement, as best I can.
All right, go ahead and give me another stealth check, because you've been bouncing back around.
31, not 20.
Okay.
I'm going to take, so kind of the way it looks is this one guy is blocking my path, and it doesn't look like I have a way past him, does it?
Not that you can tell. I mean, you saw back by the first one, there was a little path that kind of looked like it might have went around, but you're not sure if it comes back out on the other side or goes off in a different direction.
All right. I'm going to carefully take one of the rocks out of my pocket. I want to get kind of over here in a corner, like against this wall.
Okay.
And I want to throw it against this stalagmite.
Okay. Just for a point of fact, how long does your invisibility last?
It's an hour.
Okay. All right. So
Same time as, so I'll know when the comprehend languages starts going. That's when I know within 5 minutes or so my invisibility is going to go.
Okay.
Which kind of was my other marker in my head.
All right. Go ahead and give me a deception check.
Deception. Oh boy.
And while you're doing that, we can shift over to check with the other three because they've been patiently waiting.
Yes.
So, what are the three of you doing in this span of time while Obsidian has been searching? And Anari, we left off. Anari was kind of looking through, watching the hallway, seeing the trolls kind of there, listening for others. Shrag was kind of standing by and waiting, and and whatnot. And Will was kind of reacting like happened.
Shrag's going to, as he sort of like sat there and sort of like head down, sort of focusing on what Nat's seeing. He in the dust next to him, he's been like sort of flattened it all out, and he's actually going to be like sketching a shape and a layout of the cavern as they've been walking around it. Yeah. And that way there the others can actually sort of look at it and see what he's seeing to get the layout of the land. So we know roughly what's where. People like things like sort of put an X where the trees were, like, no, don't go down there kind of thing. So Will sat next to him can actually see the layout of the land and the caverns.
Cool. Go ahead and give me intelligence check.
Ooh. The claw. 21.
Yeah. It's a very good rendering of what you're seeing from Nat's perspective.
Yay.
Will? You're muted, or your volume's not working. Who cast silence on Willhelminia?
Wild magic.
Magic.
Yep. That was going to be my response as well. You guys beat me to it.
I'm just keeping an ear on that conversation, monitoring Shrag. I'm just on like high alert because I'm feeling very uncomfortable that my friends are out of healing range. So I'm just waiting.
Yeah, and you've seen Shrag kind of drawing with his finger, so you start to see what he's kind of put together.
Yeah. And I'm just kind of, just watching. Hoping everybody comes back okay. Keeping an eye on Anarion, make sure nothing sneaks up on him.
At some point, you hear a rock impact the side of a structure. Obsidian, what was your deception roll?
11 plus 1 plus 2, so 14.
So as you're standing there, you throw the rock, and the all three trolls kind of react, and to what the noise is. This one that's right here, he actually kind of sees the rock fly. So he starts to move about, and Will, you and kind of looks up here and kind of starts to look side to side, and Will and Obsidian, you hear him like, what was that? We got company.
From looking down the corridor where I am, what can I see actually?
You see that the one troll who's standing by the stalactite stands up and kind of already kind of looking about because the rock impact was real close to him, and you see a rock you see the rock fly out of nowhere and impact the stalagmite and kind of bounce down. And then you see one of the other troll kind of step into a better view as he's kind of scanning about, looking for some indication somebody's there. Obsidian, you notice that the other troll kind of moves over a little bit and starts to look toward the other entryways that you had identified. But you are effectively boxed in with a troll on either side, and as you're standing there, the one troll gets real close to you, like he's just about range. Actually, he's probably just at that range for you to reach out and touch him. And he's kind of scanning about, starting to sniff the air, and actively kind of, you can get the impression he didn't seem to fall for the trick. He knows there's something there, but because you're invisible, he can't see you. And he's trying to smell you.
This just went from Assassin's Creed to Jurassic Park real quick.
Do I have enough room to slink between him and the wall? Basically right here.
You can certainly try. It's difficult terrain. You'll need to definitely make a stealth check to see if you can get past.
All right. So my next question is, how high is the ceiling?
The ceiling's about 10 to 15 feet.
How tall is the troll?
Trolls are large creatures, so they are effectively almost like 8 to 10 feet in height. So
I may have a good 2 or 3 or 4 feet above him.
Very, very minute, yes.
Hop on the broom, up, over, and down.
Okay. Certainly worth trying. Let's see. Let's go with a stealth, because you're gonna have to pull your broom out of where it's stored, so you can get on it. And the command, and obviously the command word is, do you have to say the command word verbally, or can it be a mental command word?
Broom of flying. 3 pounds, functions like a mundane broom until you stride in it and speak its command word. It will be a very hushed whisper.
So go ahead and it's the sleight of hand. It's the sleight of hand to pull it out without making too much noise.
Okay. That's not an advantage. That would be a 10 plus 8 is 18.
Okay. You're able to kind of pull it out. It's kind of mumble under your breath the command word and start to lift up. Now I'm going to need you to make a acrobatics to try and, position yourself on the broom to get that little bit of space to kind of weave yourself through without attracting his attention.
10 plus 4 is a 14. Not included the plus 1. I had a 9 on the die.
So as you come across the look in, as you just get to the other side, the troll turns and closes that gap, and you just get out of it, but he can almost feel the air movement as you went by.
Right. It's a random breeze in the Underdark.
As that happens, Nat is going to disengage from Obsidian, and seeing the troll looking their direction, she's going to disengage and glow up.
All right, where is she going to glow up? Obsidian will move over to this side. So where is Nat glowing up?
So Nat is going to glow up. So she's going to glow up on this side here, and basically she's then going to leg it round the corner towards the crystal cavern.
Okay. This troll charges after. This one moves up, but he's kind of lingering, like he's almost thinking something was up, but he's essentially extended his distance away from Obsidian and is kind of following this other one that seems to be reaching toward moving toward Nat.
And I will take that opportunity to whisper under my breath, "Thank you, Nat and Shrag," and go south quickly.
All right.
Quietly,
so as you go south, you pass a couple of the crystals. You pass a path that seems to join up, and then as you go, it seems to extend down and continue deeper on.
Okay. God. Anybody have blood pressure medicine?
Right?
Seriously.
I offered to share earlier.
Oh, you did? I missed that. I may need some.
So while this is going on, Obsidian, not Obsidian, Anari, you see, you kind of get it. You see some of this. You see the glow, and
I was gonna say on the Roll20, I'm all blacked out. I don't see anything. So is it because I'm not in
I
my
have
60-foot dark vision
you haven't
range?
stepped through the portal, through the doorway into the room. I kind of have you off the map. So only what you can see
just peeking in. Okay.
Yeah, just peeking in. So it's only kind of what you see if you've got the YouTube open in your side.
How far is it from where I am to the other side of that stalagmite?
Probably about 40 feet.
So it's gonna it'd be a dash movement to get there.
Yeah, if I doing this, it's about 40 feet to that stalagmite.
What's the lighting in the corridor?
The corridor is is for the most part dark. There's a few little pockets of like glowing lichen in corners, but it's not enough to really change the ambient light in that hallway.
And trolls have dark vision, don't they?
Yes.
Yeah, I want to just keep an eye. If I have the opportunity, if the troll is looking away or moves away from that stalactite, I'd like to stealth up and try to hide in that area, so I'm getting closer to help Obsidian if necessary.
As he's currently standing, his back is kind of to you. He's kind of looking every so often. He kind of turns to look in your direction and then turns back. For the most part, he's kind of has his back to you. The stalagmite blocks quite a bit of his.
If he's turning around to look every so often, I don't want to risk getting caught and then having Obsidian. So I'll just stay where I'm at for now.
Okay. And this is where we're going to take our quick little mid-session break because this is roughly 11:30 in the a.m. here on the East Coast, and obviously we all need a breath. Take it.
And more coffee.
A little tense.
I need a Valium or a drink.
I feel I needed to, do something to kind of recap the last few weeks. Some thoughts was like, oh, maybe I haven't been, doing enough or whatever. So,
Yeah, you've certainly upped the blood pressure factors for this one.
Doing my best. Well, and you know what? That's the beauty of this. You get to choose how this is occurring. So you get to tell me how this kind of goes. So, everybody hanging out watching us, thank you so much for sticking with us so far. Remember, if you're new here and enjoying this, hit the like, hit the subscribe, hit the little bell notification, and please share this out on your social medias. We'd love to have more people watching and seeing what could happen to the party. And we're going to take a quick break. We'll be back in just a few minutes. So hang out, enjoy the music, and we'll see you in a few.
Become inspired by Syrinscape Online Player's massive sound library and weave your tabletop legends by building custom sound sets.
Haven't been swarmed yet. So far, so good.
Simply download the app to access the entire Syrinscape archive anytime you need epic sounds. The online player works perfectly alongside any virtual tabletop to bring your players together no matter where they are in the world. Broadcast your custom sound sets in real time with flawless audio quality to give them a game they'll never forget. Get the Syrinscape Online Player today at Syrinscape.com.
because it reminded me to take my blood pressure medicine this morning.
And we're back. How's everyone? Everyone got their refills on their coffees? Did the bio break and the stretch and all that fun stuff? Looks like it.
Oh, yeah.
Valium.
Food deliveries, that kind of thing. Yep.
All the coffee.
Alrighty. So let's kind of bring it back in and see where we are. If you're just joining us, Shadow Watch live D&D game we do on Saturdays. Currently, the party has descended into a lower level of this abandoned dwarven city. They're at a point where the stairwell, this grand stairwell that these dwarves built thousands of years ago, kind of leads into another area, and they're right here at what appears to be a guardhouse, some type, or a guard checkpoint. Obsidian has snuck himself in. He's currently on the far end of the space. Managed to distract a couple of the trolls that are in this guard place with Shragnaz's companion Nat. Anari and Will and Shrag are in the stairwell area, waiting for a signal to indicate that it's safe to move or chaos has ensued. Let's see what happens. Alrighty, so where we are, we have Obsidian here in the bottom. All right, so what is Will and Shragnaz? What's Will and Shrag doing? And Ari obviously is watching, engaging a good time to when something might happen. So what about Will and Shrag?
Actually, based on what I'm seeing and knowing that Nat, or at least thinking that Nat was with Obsidian, I'm probably going to fall back to Shragnaz and Will, just to let them know what I saw and the troll patrolling there, to give them an update.
All right. So for the three of you, what are the three of you deciding as you're sitting there waiting?
So I'll update the map a little bit and obviously explain the fact that obviously I used Nat to distract the trolls and give an idea of where she roughly is. And in fact, obviously there's two trolls that she can still see from where she is, and they're like watching her, and she's managed to pull them back with her. If they start coming any closer to her, she's going to leg it to one of the pillars of crystals, and she'll hide in amongst it, because hopefully with the dark vision, she with her slight glow and their slight glow will all kind of like blur in together.
That works.
Then she'll hang tight there for the moment. Obviously, if they start wandering away, she might just start creeping down a bit to try and get back around to Obsidian again. But she's going to be very wary of not giving his position away, because she'll no longer be invisible.
That's really
but I'll pass it on to the guys and explain to them what she's seeing and sort of like points on the map and stuff.
All right. Will, what about you?
I'm just listening and trying to be ready to go if we need to suddenly go quick.
All right. Anari, what's Anari doing as he rejoins the group and is in this discussion?
Just going to take a look at the map that Shrag's drawn out and kind of get an idea of what Obsidian has faced, and kind of get a location for the trolls based on the map and also what I had observed down the corridor.
So the X's are for the trolls. These little squares over here are those shriekers. And this little circle is where Nat's hiding.
Sounds good.
All right. Obsidian, as you're in there on this end of the corridor and looking through, you see it extends on, very familiar to other various district type areas within the city. You really can't hear any movement per se in the distance, but you see with your vision that, it goes there's like a couple of offshoots that lead off, not really sure how far down it continues to extend, but it keeping going in this way, you're not sure how much further it goes before you run into something else. and you also have the sense that it's been about 30 minutes since you cast comprehend languages and invisibility, as you've been kind of sneaking through, knowing that these trolls are right here, and that tense moment where you were kind of boxed in by all of them.
Yep. I'm gonna pick it up a little bit, knowing I'm on a time limit, and move south.
Okay. So you're gonna move. You're continuing to move south. All right.
Yeah.
Go ahead and roll a stealth check as you head south.
27.
Okay. As you kind of keep going south, and you see the various offshoots, you notice there are a couple of groups of trolls that seem to be wandering about the area.
Okay. How many trolls in each group?
2 or 3. It varies. As you see the groups, how far out do you spend scouting?
Oh, I'm looking for, some kind of a home, a building, a room, right? We're looking for something very specific. So I'm not literally just following trolls or doing anything. I'm on a mission to find something.
Okay, how much time are you planning to spend doing that?
Until I find it.
Okay. All right. So we'll say for that stealth check, it goes until your comprehend languages and your invisibility start to fade, and you feel that they're starting to fade.
I look around me real quick, and what do I see? Do I have a hiding place real quick?
Real quick perception check.
+8. So 15.
Okay. You do find a little crevice that there doesn't seem to be any trolls nearby, and you kind of can duck in there and kind of blend in with the shadows as the spells fade.
Okay, I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna hold off a minute, see if I can see Nat anywhere near the area. I'm assuming she has not made her way down towards me.
No, in 30 minutes at your pace, you would have gone through. Oh, look at my map again. 30 minutes gone through. You would have come across a main corridor that leads north and south. That's the big 20 by 20 and change. You've seen at least 3 to 4 groups of trolls. Gives you an indication that so far, based on the 3 you saw and the groups that you've seen somewhere between a dozen to just over a dozen trolls wandering about the area. Your comprehend languages has told you that it's been kind of boring because there hasn't been anything. It's been a few days since something tried to crawl through and for them to eat. But they also, though, the masters are continuing their work, and that they should not be we should be vigilant in case something happens.
So on hearing that, whoever was saying that, I would want to, as they're walking, but I would want to try and listen harder to see if I can get an idea of if they give a direction, if they say where those masters are, where they're working, anything like any kind of hint.
Okay. Go ahead. As you're hearing that, you hear that particular group that's walking kind of south, and then kind of a south, and then they kind of turn. You're kind of following this, and they talk about an area. They're an area that they've claimed that is to the southwest of your current position. That is where they're working. That is where they reside. and that there's no reason to go over there unless there's something that happens.
Okay. So did I hear that while I was invisible, or do I hear that while I'm hidden and visible?
You heard it while you were invisible, and as you were following, you're starting to feel the invisibility fade.
Okay.
And you kind of dart off to the side to let that go, and they continue their trek.
Okay, so where I'm standing, I want to see if I can find a track southwest just by looking. See if I can find something in that general direction.
Okay.
I'm also going to go ahead and recast Comprehend Languages.
Okay.
B100?
Yep. There's still 8 more to go.
Oh, no.
33. 33.
You feel a sense of arcane energy wash over you, and it's almost like an energy high. And for the next the next spell that causes damage that you cast is at max damage.
Now you want to do the fireball.
If you cast within the next minute.
Can I get an 8 on the next one, please? No, seriously.
Well, if you're about to cast invisibility.
Invisibility, exactly.
Oh.
I have one more cast of it. Oh, please.
Do it.
Oh, 70. That is 70, because it's not a 7. It was 70 and a 0. That is 70. I had to double check.
Panic for a moment. No.
What?
Don't betray me like that, you guys.
This is interesting. All right, so as you are there, you can hear in the distance another patrol of 3 is passing. Mm-hmm. And as you cast the invisibility, you go invisible. You hear the conversation as they're discussing their patrol route, and guardhouse 2 and guardhouse 3, guardhouse 4, it's letting you know that there are multiple guardhouses to protect the entrances. And you hear them, and the conversation gets closer, and as you look, the conversation gets in front of you, and then keeps passing, but you don't see a thing. You cast invisibility on all creatures within 30 feet of you.
Oh, dear.
That's funny.
Not helpful.
So I'm going to pause for a moment and go, I hope it's not a full hour. If that would suck, I could run right into them.
Oh boy.
They're invisible for the next minute. So as the conversation continues to go, and you can hear at the end of your dark vision, you see the last one in the trio pop back into view as they keep on their patrol.
Okay. Thank God. Despicable.
Now, keeping in mind that at your pace over 30 minutes of traversing, you are a bit a ways of where the rest of the group is.
No.
So you are kind of in the center area right now. It would take you a bit at dash to get back to your companions.
I know. I'm going to keep on going.
Okay. Back over to the rest of the group. In that time this has all been going on, the one troll has continued to follow and progress, following Nat, and continues to follow Nat and trying to investigate, and tries to, as it gets closer, you said Nat was going to dart to try and hide in. Go ahead and have Nat roll do a stealth check for Nat.
Okie dokie. Shrag obviously be able to see through her eyes. We'll be preparing the fact that if this fails and it sees her, he will basically dismiss her.
Okay.
So her stealth is, of all the times to roll it, a natural 20.
Hey!
She gets in there and she kind of fades into the crystal. The troll comes, kind of looks about, kind of looks into the crystal, and then turns and makes his way back. He tells the other one, and you can hear he's like, "No floating lights gone. What now?" The other one's like, there was something here. We don't want to cause a ruckus. Last time there was pain. There was a lot of pain, and they kind of go back to their preordained predisposition spots. The lead one is like, "Any left to that dwarf?"
Mm-hmm.
And the other one's like, got an arm. It's kind of stringy. All right. Sits there, comes back. He's feeling the arm, and the one that Anari was kind of watching, kind of leans back on the stalagmite, and kind of sits there, kind of bored.
Chloe snack left. Sad.
So to try and sort of obviously trying to avoid unsummoning that, could she potentially sort of make her way back? Now, yes, she's going to glow with a dim 10-foot light, but I mean, given the fact she's like a little kind of fairy type thing, she might not draw too much attention. Could she try and make her way back through the cavern again, please?
It's possible. It's totally possible.
There's a big butt there.
Well, I mean, it's the fact it's glowing, and there's not a lot of glowing things as you get to a certain point. So it's kind of one of those, the bob and weave kind of deal. So I would say it's probably going to be another stealth check to try and weave her way through for her movements. So if you want to go ahead and do that,
we shall give that a try. And that is a 21.
So she kind of goes through, and she comes back after a little while. She kind of drifts, and she's like tried to be very, very kind of avoiding the line of sight as the trolls kind of go about and darting back in, but she's able to get out after a bit of time.
Cool. So I'm gonna try and get
now
her.
The three of you are there, kind of looking out. It's been 30 minutes. An additional 30 minutes, and there's been no sign or indication of Obsidian at all as you guys are waiting there.
Will is about ready to invent a fidget spinner because she's starting to go crazy.
Yeah, and Shrag obviously realized that he's lost sight of him, so it's a case of, I don't know where he is now.
Oh.
From Anarion's past adventuring experiences with Obsidian, he knows that if there's anything that's going to be urgent, that we've got the sending stones that he'll use, and so he'll share with the others. It's okay so far. Calm down. We'll be okay. He'll let us know if he needs us.
Okay. I stop fraying the edges of my skirt where I had been fiddling with them, and I just take a deep breath, and I try to do what I've seen Anarion do, where he just like sits and meditates and is peaceful. I'm trying really hard to do that, but I'm like,
all right.
It's not working.
All right. So now back over to Obsidian. What are you attempting to do?
I'm attempting to go southwest. They kind of indicated that's where things were happening, and that's where I want to go.
Okay. Go ahead and give me a stealth check.
That one's not as good. That is a 16.
Ready? Oh, you're able to, surprisingly enough, you're able to kind of navigate through this area. I do. Check one thing.
Because I'm moving quicker, so
you're moving quicker, and you're kind of going.
Yeah, I rolled a 4 and a 5. +1 + 10. Okay, dice jail for those two. Back to the others.
So you spend the next hour darting back and forth and through to the point where you're feeling your spells start to dissipate again. And at some point, just before that, you kind of hear some scuffling through some of the through some of the corridors, and maybe a little dart of movement out of the corner of your eye as something scuttles past an opening that's beyond your vision. And as you kind of take the extra, kind of taking a look, you're not quite sure if there's something else here, but it's that scuffle, like something's walking, and kind of catches your attention, and you get to a spot where your spells fade again. You become visible. You're kind of hiding in a little corner. You've seen a couple more troll patrols. You kind of now have a feeling that based on what they said, there was 4 checkpoints, roughly 3 troll. If you're taking the estimation, 3 trolls each, plus all the patrols, you now have a sense that there are roughly 24 trolls wandering about in this area, in patrols and whatnot, and something else. Because the way the scuffling went, it was something smaller and faster.
That's ominous.
So the hiding spot I'm in, I can see out okay, but they can't see they can't kind of see me, correct?
As far as you can determine, no.
Okay. I want to wait until it is quiet.
Go ahead and give me.
If they're roving patrols, I kind of want to wait until they're like halfway.
Go ahead and give me a survival check for your hour of searching.
12 + 1 is 13, + 5 is an 18.
Okay, so in that hour of searching, you've come to a spot that you're at the furthest south you can go. You can tell this is the wall, and as you kind of taking around and looking, you see a spot where there looks like there's an entry kind of carved in, and as you kind of round the corner looking at that to the southwest, you see a corridor that kind of curves about, and where the curve meets with another corridor, you see a couple of trolls standing there on either side.
Okay.
And it definitely gives you the indication that this is a guard. This is a guarded passage.
Guard post. Okay. I'd like to step back a little bit.
Now, you saw this, and just to fill this in, you saw this before you lost your visibility. It's like right at the end of it, you kind of got that sense. So now you've backed into a spot that's a little further away that you can kind of gauge, okay, I'm not too close, they can hear me and whatever. But you're still hearing the scuffling of something crawling around. And you haven't been able to see it, but it seems like the scuffling has gotten a little closer to you as you've been kind of moving through.
All right, so I want to take the hide action and make sure I'm hidden.
Okay.
As a rogue. And I want to reach for one of the sending stones.
Okay.
Probably the one to Shrag.
All right, so hold that thought. Circling back over for this hour that the three of you have been kind of camped out in this area. It's been essentially a short rest for y'all because you've been sitting there. Anari and Will, you've notice that that at some point through the conversation with the trolls, they stop talking, and you hear the conversation kind of change. Will, you can hear in Giant that it's like, oh, it's like, stay away from those. Stay away from those. They let them pass. Just let them pass. And it's kind of, and at some point you hear another conversation, like another group has moved up forward, and there's anything to report, nothing to report. It's been quiet. And then another time's like, anything to report. Yeah, there was a little glowing thing. It kind of vanished. We're not sure. And whatnot. So, but you haven't seen anything cross through. And at some point near the end of that next hour, you start to hear you hear scuffling, and you kind of look, and coming out, and at about the time you hear one of them say, just let it pass. Just don't aggravate it. The masters will get mad.
Uh-oh.
And crawling out of one of the doorways, you see a little creature that's got these 4 legs and claws and what looks like a brain, as it crawls up and starts to, like a spider, crawls up along the ceiling or along the wall, and then stop.
Yep.
Uh-oh.
And at about this time, Shrag, you start to hear a message in your head. What is the message, Obsidian?
Before the message though, do we identify that as one of the intellect devour things that we saw with the hook horrors?
Yep. It's kind of non-mistakable as soon as you see it, and the reaction from the trolls.
It's a very distinctive silhouette. Ooh.
You ready?
Then,
so
ready for the spell? Or were you guys working on something?
Here's a question for you, Scoob. Obviously, Nat counts as intangible. So obviously she's visible, but she's intangible.
mm-hmm.
Would she have seen them go past her, based on where she managed to make it to down south in that corridor?
We'll clarify that.
So basically, obviously, she managed to sneak past the trolls and kind of
she snuck past and is with you guys, unless you sent her off somewhere else.
Because I was going to have her sneak down past the trolls and just go south and sit with one of the crystals. So she's kind of watching that south corridor.
Okay.
So obviously she realised it was too far down for she couldn't see Shad down that corridor. So obviously
she would go, if that was the case, she would probably go to the extent of her range from you and still not see Shad or Obsidian.
Yeah, so that's the point. It's definitely lost track of him. She doesn't know where to go to catch with him, so she's just going to hold fire rather than coming back and risking setting the trolls off again. She's just going to hold tight.
Okay. Yeah, she would be able to sneak down, and she's kind of there. She's at a point where there's this main corridor that extends north and south, and every so often, if she kind of hides in a crystal grouping, would see a couple of troll patrols walk by.
Cool. Okay, so she's down south. That's all fine. So yeah, so I think with her, she's going to stay there and just play it safe. She's not going to try and do anything to draw any attention to herself.
I will ask Shraggy, since I know he's watching, can you tell how far apart the patrols are? Is it regular or is it random?
I'll pass the question on to Nat and try and get a feel for it.
Go ahead and give me an insight check. Have Nat give me an insight.
That will be an 18.
All right. They seem routine. It's different groups that seem to crisscross, giving you the indication that it's not one group making a circuit, but several groups making a circuit.
Okay. Yeah, we're not going down there easily, guys. He's down and gone out of sight, and yeah, too many patrols. Too many patrols.
Was he able to tell how much time is between the patrols?
15 minutes, give or take. The corridor she's on is a main corridor, so there's a lot of foot traffic.
So they might be less common on a less main thoroughfare, or less regular. Thank you.
And since knowing that, I will say that at some point, Nat would have also seen intellect devours every so often, at much rarer interval, crawl about.
I get the feeling they're maybe looking for us. They're certainly being careful.
It's probably best to assume they're looking for us, so if they're not, it's a happy surprise. But I have a feeling they're looking for us.
All right, and at this point, the intellect devourer had crawled out in between the two doorways in the stairwell, and it's kind of sitting there, not really making any movement, but there. The little tendrils kind of get out and kind of wave about the area, kind of like how an ant's antennae kind of scan. And so this is where the message from Obsidian would come into Shrag's head.
Yep. So I reach into my pocket and I grab the sending stone that corresponds to the one that Shrag has. And with the sending stone, you're basically casting the spell Sending.
Oh.
Thank you again, Dish Pickle. We love you so much. So the message that comes through is, and I had to type this out because it's 25 words or less, and he can respond. And so this is the message. Finally found something, deep in caves, am hidden. Trying to take long rest so can continue. Have seen 24 trolls patrolling. Be safe.
Shrag will get that message. He'll quietly whisper it's about the side of his mouth to Will. He's been in touch. He's found somewhere safe, but lots of patrols. And I will respond to Obsidian with the Devourers searching. Think they might know. Can we get to you?
Well, I can't respond, so
you'd have to send it again. Sending stone gives you a couple of options, but roll your first D100 and let's see what happens.
Yeah, and actually the sending stone I have with the one with Shrag, it's one time.
So it's the general, not the drop pod.
Correct. Yes, I just used the general because the drop pod would only go to Anarion because he and I are the only two that have them.
Yeah. All right.
And sending is once sending is cast through the stones, they can't be used again until the next dawn. So, what time is it?
It's kind of hard to tell in the Underdark, but it's definitely been a day.
Yeah. So 39 is the roll on the D100. At least it's not a 7 or an 8 or a 9 now. Apparently, magic missile going off.
39, correct?
39.
Okay. You feel an urge of a sudden swelling of vitality wash through you as you regain 2d10 hit points.
So I regain 0.
You feel really good about it.
Yeah, I feel really good about it. Exactly. Why couldn't it be you get all your spell slots back?
I mean, almost like when you like super tired and you have a really good cup of coffee with and you drink that and all of a sudden you feel, all right, I can do this. You have that surge of vitality in
like you really good coffee.
So
real perky.
I want to look around. Am I in a position that I could potentially safely take a long rest?
Honestly, no. Because with Shrag's response, intellect devours, and you hear the scuffling, and the fact that as you've been progressing through, the scuffling has gotten a little more pronounced, and thinking about it, Go ahead and roll an insight.
Roll well.
Ooh, 16 plus 1 plus 5. 22.
All right. With that and all this information, as you assess your thing, you kind of get the feeling that the scuffling is intellect devours, a couple of them, and the fact they've been closing in on your location.
So are they kind of doing like a grid pattern search to find me, or are they beelining in?
Maybe this is because of last night's mental images. I don't know, but think of it as like sharks circling. They're getting tighter and tighter each time they pass. You're not sure how, but you know that you're not really sure how, but you know that they are, as they pass, they seem to be getting a little bit closer.
Do we know how these things perceive the world, if it's through visual or if they have blind sense or tremor sense or something like that?
Go ahead and roll a nature check. $15? 16. Okay. You're studying Underdark creatures before you go in. Go ahead and roll with advantage because you've had a chance to discuss intellective hours and you did research on that. Any better?
2 13s in a row, so that's another 16.
Okay. Looking at this one that's kind of sat up there, and you don't see any optical type of sensory organs on it, and you know that they kind of have a feeling for sensing, kind of have a blind sense of the area, but because of their name and their inherent nature that they feed on intelligent creatures, it seems like there might be something else that kind of draws them to creatures. You're not sure what range that is, but there's clearly something. Now, thankfully, because there are a number of intelligent creatures about, if you count trolls. It's almost, you can almost picture these things like guard dogs that are just roaming around waiting for something. Yeah. And then now this one has come out into where you guys are at, and it's kind of sitting there and kind of there. And let's see. Okay. Shrag, as you're sitting there, I went based on passive perception. Sorry, you had the lowest of the three. You hear a childlike voice in your head going, "Are you friend?"
Based on our previous encounters with these things and also the history that we have, would I know how to protect us from them?
Give me a nature check.
Nature or
give me an Arcana
history
check, actually, because you're probably thinking of magical means. So go ahead and give me Arcana or Nature, whichever one you feel is better. Remember, you get a +1 to the roll because
it's probably going to be about this. It's probably going to be about the same thing. So I think it's going to be a 14 or 15 rather with one. Yeah. 15.
Not quite sure. You know that there are spells out there that could protect, that could kind of mask your intelligence, but you're not sure what particular spells or if you're capable of them.
From the history that Will gathered and the information we had from studying before, would we know that who's creating these things or creating these creatures?
Based on their history, they're typically created by mind flayers.
And we know mind flayers are evil, right?
Yes, they are evil. And these creatures kind of lean toward the evil persuasion.
Okay.
But they are created by mind flayers as kind of just a random experiment and bets.
Okay, so based on that information, oh man, I don't know if this is gonna work. 10 minutes. I'm gonna go ahead and cast. Oh, it's only on one willing creature. Never mind. I was gonna cast protection from evil, but it's only for one creature, so that's not gonna protect our group.
No, but it might. You could use it to protect the most intelligent of the three of you. Who's got the highest intelligence score?
14.
14.
18.
Yeah, I'll cast it on Shrag.
Got a big brain.
Oh, a big brain. And go ahead and roll your D100 as Shrag gets that protection from good and evil.
Lovely. That is going to be a 97.
I think we've gotten that one. Don't remember.
And I think we're down to 4 now left.
Yep.
Yeah. Thinking, yep. I was 5 or 4. Yep. So, as you kind of put your hand on Shrag and cast that, you feel you hear in your head and very faintly for the others, you feel a sound of ethereal music as your own personal soundtrack starts playing.
I've had this one.
Yep, very much. It's very faint, but it's definitely your own kind of theme music as you're standing there.
Right.
Should we tell Obsidian, since now that I've seen the intellect devour and I know they're around, should we warn him? Do you think he knows?
I told him about the intellect devourers. Hopefully he heard the message back again.
We have one more use of sending if we need it.
I wish Kamatari.
So and Shrag, you hear the little and then after a little bit, you Will, you hear a voice in your head, a little childlike voice going, "Are you friend?"
Look at Shraggy. Nope, that wasn't you. Can I tell where it's coming from?
You give a general intelligence check.
Intelligence check. Do I get the +1 on that?
Yes, all you get
all rolls.
All rolls.
Sweet.
Oh, same with the D100, so we could actually get 101 and have no effect.
You can certainly try.
I was gonna say we haven't been adding the 1 to the D100 rolls.
But to be fair, if you got 101, you'd want that because it would just be the same as getting 100.
Oh.
Or I could have it restart and you get a 1.
Oh.
Oh, what's a 1? I don't think we've ever had a 1. Oh yeah, we did. Yeah, we did.
What was it? Do you remember?
Yeah, every freaking turn you got to re-roll.
Oh, that's right. And 100 you get back all your spell slots, right?
I think.
Yeah, 100 you get back your spell slots.
Oh god, that would be so.
One
nice,
you get back 1d6 expended spell slots. This is the
yes, that would be nice.
Will, what'd you get on your intelligence check?
15.
15. Get the impression that it's coming from somebody else in the room. Little childlike voice, kind of echoey as it talks to you. Asks, "Are you friend?"
I have been contacted by somebody. I think it's that thing. It knows we're here. It wants to know if I'm its friend.
I'd say yes. You never know. We've made friends with skulls before.
It's true. We could be.
You're smarter than the others. You work for the masters too?
Yes. Yes, we do. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Roll a persuasion.
I'm so good at these. Everybody knows I'm great at persuasion rolls.
Yeah, let's hope you have a good one today.
15.
No.
16.
+1.
16! There is a difference between 15 and 16.
You damn straight there is.
It sits there. For a moment, there's a pause. And then you see the intellect of our scuffle into the next doorway and keep going.
Man, that's stressful.
That was a lucky break.
Oh, I have a +0. Oh my god.
Boy.
What does Obsidian do since he's a bit of ways, sneaking and searching as much as he has? You're about 200, 300. You're probably actually no. You're more like 500 feet away from the stairwell at this, because you when you checked and backtracked and taken a look, and with your searching and trying to get a good spot where you couldn't be heard. You estimate somewhere between 500 and 800 feet from the stairwell.
And I know this is not a good place to sit.
Not for any great length of time.
Okay. So how far am I from the two trolls that I saw?
That one there, you're a little closer to them. You're less than 100 feet.
Okay. And you said there was a curved hallway?
Yes, the hallway kind of yeah, as you look through, it kind of did a little like a half circle or a partial circle.
Okay.
And it's kind of like and it teed off, and at the tee you saw two trolls standing there, like they're standing guard.
Okay.
And as you saw the troll, as you kind of looked at the trolls standing there, they're kind of in that they did not seem as lax as the ones you saw when you first came down the stairwell.
Okay. I want to get as close as I can without them seeing me.
Okay, that's going to be a bit hard. It's just dark.
I want to hug that wall.
You're just trying to hug the wall?
Hug that wall. Right,
okay.
That curved wall. And I kind of want to watch when I get to a point where I'm just starting to see them on my peripheral. How far away am I?
You would be about 20 feet.
20 feet.
Go ahead and roll a stealth. Go ahead and give me a stealth check.
Oh boy.
19.
19. All right. You get up in there and you're kind of hugging as best you can, trying to be as, due to those shadow traits, kind of blending in there. You're kind of outside. They haven't seen you, and you're kind of there, but you're about 20 feet from them, and you can see.
Okay, so I'm going to do 3 things kind of in succession.
Okay.
So I'm going to tell you the whole plan and kind of in the order I want to do it. I want to cast protection from good and evil on myself, or evil and good.
Okay.
Evil and good.
Totally different spell.
Exactly. Protection from evil and good. I want to, at the same time that I am charging them with my short sword out, I want to send into my sending stone to Anarion the word help.
Ah!
Okay.
Oh God.
Okay. And the third thing?
Sending stone, charge. So cast spell, sending stone, help as I'm charging. So 1, 2, 3.
Okay.
Oh God.
So you cast that spell. roll your D100.
Oh, frick.
65.
Man, I thought my heart was beating hard before that.
No.
Crap.
As you cast that spell on yourself and you kind of mentally prepare yourself for running into it, you all of a sudden feel kind of like the static electric charge pass through you. Your eyes all of a sudden kind of flare, and you kind of get a sense that just thinking about attacking these two trolls right there, you in your mind's eye, you picture lightning striking them both. And as you do, they both get surges of lightning fire out and hit the two trolls. Each creature within 65 up to 3 creatures you choose within 30 feet take 4d10 lightning damage.
Nice. Thank you, Dish
Thank you.
Pickle.
Thank you, dice.
Oh my gosh. Dish pickle.
It actually did some good this time. Yay.
What do you mean? It always
Or
does
doesn't
good.
it turn into a pot of
For
sand?
you.
For
Yeah.
you.
Do I
It
roll
always
these?
works.
Or do you? You want me to roll these, or do
Yep,
you roll them?
it's your spell, your damage.
Fan-freaking-tastic.
A lot like that scene out of Thor Ragnarok when he just went
26.
26 points of damage to each of them.
Solid.
Nice.
Oh my gosh.
And then with the sending spell, I'm guessing I do another D100.
Yes.
Oh,
What was that one? 65? Roll a 65 again.
Or
I think
an
the
8.
DM at that point would call BS. Okay, I really don't think that would happen. That's a 74.
You
What
sure it
was that
wasn't 9?
Yeah,
Could have
right.
been an 8.
Interesting.
Oh God.
Uh-oh. I always get a little jolt of adrenaline when I hear my DM go, huh, interesting.
I know, right?
Yeah.
I'm afraid to even take a sip of drink.
For whom?
Yeah, for whom?
Yeah.
I have to think about that one.
It involves radiuses, so I'm not sure that's going to be good. Oh my.
Oh no, there's a radius.
He's counting tiles, so yeah, I'm thinking.
Ruh-roh. Oh.
Oh.
Yep. There's all right. Yeah, that's interesting. Okay. As you cast the sending and cast the sending, zooming back, kind of giving that kind of environmental view, not too far from where you're standing, there's an intellect devourer that's kind of crawling about. And all of a sudden, it kind of shudders a little bit, and it seems to kind of not do so well. As for a moment, takes a pause, gets a little lethargic, and then starts to move at a slower pace. A random creature within 60 feet becomes poisoned for 1d4 hours.
Oh, that one again.
Wow.
That's
Told you
like
it
the
smells.
little lizard guy.
And Anari, you're standing there talking with everybody. As you guys have all had a moment to kind of collectively sigh a little bit at the intellect devourer kind of walking away. You hear Obsidian's voice in your head go, "Help."
Okay. In our adventuring, Obsidian and I have set up kind of some code phrases, And so I know that that one means that we need to get to him immediately. So I will get Shrag and Will together with me, and I'm going to use the 2 charges from our drop pod stone and teleport to Obsidian.
All right, go ahead and roll your D100.
Indeed.
Getting close. I think there's only like 1 or 2 left.
That is going to be a 77.
Gosh, 74, 75, 77.
You've had this one before, I think.
I need you to roll a wisdom saving throw.
Oh no!
Oh, wonderful!
Against your own spell save DC.
Oh, this could get really, really interesting.
I think
wisdom save.
Before.
So, oh yeah, and that will be a nat 1 for a total of 10 plus 1 would be 11.
And what's your DC?
And my DC, where's my spell? My DC is a 14, so that's a fail.
You +3, +1 for the.
No, it's already included in my thing.
No, the +1 for the
plus
thing.
1 for the blessing.
For the blessing. Still only 11.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's 11 because it was a 10 plus 1, so 11.
Okay.
So Shrag and Will, as you guys are there, and that breath, all of a sudden you feel Anari put a hand on each of your on each of your shoulders, and in Shrag's case, you can feel the hand and a stone, and then you guys all kind of blink. And when you blink again, Anari's not touching you. You see Obsidian launching himself at a pair of trolls who seem to be slightly cooked from lightning. Short sword in hand, making his attack. And in between you is a sheep.
I rolled that one.
Bad deal, DM. Bad deal.
How long does it last?
And that is where we'll end for this week, because I can't think of a better cliffhanger this close to the end of our session.
Oh my god, what just happened? Oh, it's so funny. Oh no, how long does it last?
You cast polymorph on yourself. If you fail the saving throw, you turn into a sheep for the spell's duration.
That's an hour.
Mm-hmm. I
Okay.
got that spell.
Okay. Cool.
Have fun fighting the trolls, gang, because I can't help.
I'm really glad I have this
Yes,
magic
I'm going to
prepared.
kill the freaking sheep. Are you kidding me?
I have dispel magic, so we can either do some damage to you, or I can dispel your polymorph.
And of course,
Either way.
at the time, it's like that, as that he did that, and you Nat, while she's kind of sitting there, because she was kind of she's kind of strategically placed kind of in between somewhat. She kind of feels the tug as Shrag went from within 300 feet to just over, so she kind of feels this magical tug, and
she
just
pops out.
before the tug, she hears the crack of lightning kind of there. And then all of a sudden, this is where we'll pick up right here with
What
Very
does
bad situation.
What does Anarion as a sheep look like?
Got
Are
pointy
you a
ears.
black sheep? Are you a white sheep? Do you have spots? I need to know.
So knowing Anarion, he's probably the black sheep.
I love it.
What could possibly go wrong? I think we just found out one of the options.
Yeah, indeed.
This is one of those moments where I wish we had like an animator or something to just bring this into life, because it's so silly.
Yeah, I'm thinking that same thing too. I'm just picturing like the critters and all that, and some of them who are like animators or whatever, just thinking about, oh, we talked about this, and then to see somebody visualize it in stop motion or in graphic, it's just like I can't make this stuff up. I mean, it's great. So I'm just,
so
Obsidian
fantastic.
is going to go first with his attack roll when we start off.
And then we'd be rolling initiative, right?
Yeah, you'd literally be rolling initiative. Obsidian would get the first hit off of that because that's all part of his charge. Each troll had taken damage, and then right as the spot where you cast it and then step, that's where they drop. So it's right into the thick of it. Thank you everyone for hanging out with us for this wild, crazy first live stream D&D session on YouTube. You guys are awesome and amazing, and what a way to kick it off. Please like, share, subscribe, all those things. Hit the little bell notification, and please leave a comment below if there was a particular thing you enjoyed or something, or some kind of comment question. We'll be happy to review those and answer them and all of that. Thank you to the cast for hanging out with us, hanging out today. I know it's nice to have a Saturday morning of shenanigans. Still kind of can't get over that. That's so great. They're so awesome and amazing.
Oh my.
Thank you to Sirenscape for the background music and soundboards that we used during our session. Our break and pre and post session music is from Stream Beats. You can check that out at streambeats.com for all of that info, and of course Sirenscape.com for the info for Sirenscape. It's GaryCon this weekend, so go check out the GaryCon channels over on Twitch for a lot of great, amazing games. Yesterday was really cool. We had a lot of great content creators and a lot of great D&D personalities within the community playing games. And you can even check out the game I played last night over on their VODs to see what kind of shenanigans we got into there. If you're enjoying this, did those things, and we'll not have a game tonight for Challenge Accepted or Sunday with Scoop tomorrow, due to still doing some GaryCon stuff. So we will see you on Tuesday night for Scuba and the Rye, where we can talk about this session and all the other crazy session shenanigans that we had. Am I missing anything else? Anything I'm forgetting to plug? We're good.
We got all the wild stuff. We got all the wild stuff. You got it all.
Got all the wild stuff and almost whittled through all the wild magic built up, but that's okay. See what happens. It's all kinds of crazy. With that,
some hilarious moments today. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
Oh no, you're good. You're good. It's hard to pick my favorite moment from this one because so many were good. We had tension, all of that. Tried to keep it flowing and going, and not just kind of a run and gun kind of battle. Very espionage like.
Yes.
So.
It's been highly entertaining just watching Obsidian sneaking around. So nervous.
Waiting for that moment. It's like, okay, did I go the wrong corner?
He needs more spell slots so he can do invisibility more times. That's what he needs. That's what he needs.
So you're saying you ring a spell storing.
That said, if the intellect devourers have got blind sight, invisibility wasn't going to help you.
No, but I could have gotten maybe past these two trolls.
That's all right. We'll get past them.
Yeah, we just need to keep moving real quick.
Oh man, that was fun.
All right, everyone.
If they're hungry, the sheep might distract them. So
a snack.
Throw the sheep to the trolls and distract it. Quick snack, run.
Well, thank you, Steve. That was great.
I'm glad you all had fun. I'm glad I was able to recoup some, things that were kind of slow, but hopefully I brought it back to brought it back for you guys.
Yeah, all the stuff's gonna go wrong next week, and it'll be fine until the next Wild Magic.
It'll be April. It'll be Easter weekend. We're gonna have fun. So
yeah, that's true, huh?
That being said, enjoy your afternoon. Enjoy the rest of your week. Stay safe. Love each other. Be sure to check out all the great things: GaryCon, Jasper's Game Day, Realmsmith, all them peeps. And we will see you. And of course, stay here and check out all the rest of our content here. Tell everybody about it. And we will see you on our next stream. Good afternoon, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.